I never expected something like the Tesla Takedown Movement to rise up with such force. But here we are, and since everyone keeps asking what I think, I might as well tell the story from my point of view, at least the fictionalized version of it, because reality and perception have a way of blending together in strange, unpredictable ways. When I first heard the name Tesla Takedown, I imagined some kind of playful jab, a meme, maybe a late-night comedy bit, but it became clear very quickly that this was not satire, not a passing storm, but a coordinated wave of frustration, anger, and in some cases, genuine fear about what people believe my influence represents. And it's a strange thing to be at the center of a movement that calls itself grassroots, while also painting me as some sort of political puppet master. Because for most of my life, I didn't even think about politics beyond how they affected engineering challenges or regulatory obstacles. Yet here I am watching activists gather outside factories and showrooms, waving hand-painted signs, calling for boycotts, chanting about power, influence, and the dangers of letting any single person have too much of either. And I'll admit, it's surreal to walk past a window and see my name on protest banners, because I'm just a guy who works. I build things, I break things, I fix them. I think about the future. I obsess about rocket engines at 3 a.m. and battery chemistry at 4 a.m. And sometimes I make mistakes, lots of them. Public ones. But somewhere along the way, people started imagining me as a symbol rather than a flawed human being trying to push technology forward. So when the movement began to frame me as a threat, as someone pulling secret strings inside governments, I had to take a long breath, sit down, and ask myself what story people were telling about me that I wasn't aware of. Because in this fictional world I'm describing, the narrative grows legs and runs fast, faster than a Model S Plaid, faster than a Falcon 9 landing burn. And suddenly there's this idea that I'm using influence to shape policy, steer governments, manipulate systems, and while it's tempting to shrug off rumors, the truth is that ideas don't need to be true to spread. And so the Tesla Takedown Movement became something larger, a kind of pressure valve for people anxious about technology, automation, economics, and the pace of change. And maybe I can't blame them for that, because the future moves quickly and not everyone is comfortable riding shotgun. I watch interviews where people say they used to admire Tesla, but now want to boycott it because they believe buying one supports a political agenda they fear. And in this fictional monologue, I'm supposed to explain how that feels, so here it is. It feels strange, surreal, like watching a story written about a version of me that only half exists. Like hearing someone describe your shadow as if it were your true form. I've seen movements rise and fall, but this one carries a different energy, determination, anger, a belief in accountability, even if aimed at the wrong target. And maybe that's why I want to understand it rather than dismiss it. Because protests don't form in a vacuum, they form when people feel unheard or powerless. And even though the slogans about bringing down the empire of influence are misguided in this fictional world, there's a truth buried inside the noise. People want to know who is steering the future and whether they have a say in it. And so the Tesla Takedown crowds grow, megaphones crackling, voices echoing across parking lots at dawn, and I sit somewhere quietly for a moment and think about how all of this started with an electric car, a battery pack, a dream of reducing emissions, and now somehow the dream has turned into a lightning rod, a symbol of what people fear about concentrated vision, ambition, and power. And if I'm being honest, in this fictional reflection, there are days it weighs on me. Days when I wonder whether innovation always comes with a cost measured not just in money or engineering hours, but in public perception, suspicion, and backlash. Still, I keep building because that's what I do, no matter what movements rise or fall around me. And maybe one day the people marching outside the gigafactories will see me not as a villain of influence, but as someone who, fictionally speaking, has simply tried to push humanity forward, sometimes clumsily, sometimes controversially, sometimes too loudly, but always with an eye on a future that belongs to everyone, not just me, not just Tesla, not just any government, and certainly not any single movement, no matter how determined it is to take something down. And so, part 2 of this strange saga begins with me sitting in a dimly lit conference room, staring at a wall-sized screen covered in news clips about the Tesla Takedown Movement. Commentators arguing, analysts speculating, activists marching with signs that twist my face into symbols I don't recognize. And I find myself wondering when exactly I became the eye of a cultural storm. Because I never applied for that job, never asked to be anyone's hero or villain. Yet, in this fictional world, my influence is held up like a magnifying glass catching sunlight, blamed for burning holes in society. And I watch as every interview I've ever done gets dissected, every tweet, yes, even the silly ones, gets turned into some kind of political artifact, and part of me wants to laugh at the absurdity, but another part understands that once a narrative escapes into the wild, you can't reel it back in. Meanwhile, my friends, fictionalized for the sake of this story, keep asking how I'm holding up, and I give them the standard answer: I'm fine, I've got work to do. But internally I'm tracking the movement like an engineer tracks a malfunctioning subsystem, observing its spread, its structural supports, its fuel sources, and what strikes me most is how passionately people believe they are fighting something huge, something dangerous. As if Tesla is no longer a company, but an enormous shadow, looming over power grids, political halls, and public consciousness. And I think to myself, how did a car, just a car, turn into this? But deep down I know it was never just a car. It was an idea, a disruption. And disruption always comes with resistance. And in this fictional narrative, the resistance has organized into something massive, a force with its own momentum, its own mythology about me. And so, I decide to walk outside one morning and face a group of protesters gathered near the factory entrance, not with a speech, not with security surrounding me, but just me, hands in pockets, breathing in the cool air. And when they notice me, everything goes silent for a moment, like the world hit a pause button, and one of them, a young woman with paint smudged across her fingers, steps forward and asks, in a voice trembling between anger and sincerity, why I think I deserve so much power. And for a moment, I don't know what to say, because in this fictional monologue, I'm supposed to be someone who has influence he never asked for. And yet here I stand, confronted with the human side of the backlash. Not slogans, not headlines, but a real person who feels afraid of the future I represent. And so I tell her something simple, that I don't deserve power any more than anyone else, that innovation isn't a crown or throne, it's a responsibility, and sometimes a burden, and that If I seem larger than life, it's only because people project their hopes and fears onto anything that tries to push boundaries. And as I speak, I can see the crowd listening, not agreeing, not supporting me, but listening. And maybe that's enough for now. Later, in the quiet of my office, I scroll through messages, some supportive, many furious, and I think about how strange it is to be both admired and feared, uplifted and torn down, often in the same week, sometimes the same day. And I wonder if this is the new normal in a world where inventions reshape society faster than people can adapt. And in this fictional story I'm telling, I realize that the Tesla Takedown Movement isn't just about me at all. It's about a society wrestling with change, trying to grab hold of something solid while the ground shifts beneath everyone's feet. And maybe I'm just the most convenient symbol to pin that struggle onto. Still, I can't help but reflect on the irony that the very movement trying to weaken my influence has actually amplified it by turning me into a character in their narrative. And if I weren't living through it, fictionally, I might even find it poetic. But as part 2 comes to a close, I'm left with a single thought echoing in my mind. No matter how loud the protests get, no matter how many boycotts trend online, I will keep building, keep pushing, keep imagining what the world could be. Because the future isn't shaped by applause or backlash. It's shaped by persistence, and whatever storms come next, I'll face them the only way